Exciting news in the EV space. Apple and Baidu both are poised to enter the race for electric vehicles, and this has some impact possibly on Tesla and NIO. So let's discuss this. And as you know, I'm a bull on Baidu, so also stay till the very end of this video if you want to hear my thoughts on the investment in Baidu and whether or not this EV news is actually good or going in the right direction to it. So Baidu shares already spiked last week on the news that Baidu is possibly building their own electric vehicle. Now these days we have the new rumors, and actually this has been long rumors about Apple building their own car, but now they are up again. So what are the impacts here on NIO and Tesla? And if we're looking at the Tesla chart, we can actually see that it did indeed have some impact. So after the S&P 500 inclusion, we saw then obviously Tesla had a setback, but is actually holding up quite well, so more than 5% down. But then I was actually expecting that it would stop here at around $638 support level, but it actually passed way through that and tanked even further. And I think that was mainly also on the news of Apple building their own EV. It's now looking like it's recovering, but still the same thing goes for NIO. NIO was in this very bullish uptrend here after it broke through the downward trend and on its way to the $50 mark, but then had a huge sell-off, and I think that was also based on the Apple car rumors actually. So NIO lost a little bit of traction here, despite the fact that, as I have outlined before, I think hedge funds were now shifting back some investments, taking profits from Tesla and also putting it back into NIO. But now we need to see whether or not NIO can actually continue with this bullish run up to the $50 marks into NIO day. So why are investors selling NIO and Tesla in order to buy up some Apple shares based on this news? Well, I think it's mainly opportunistic. In the past, we had already some interesting connections between NIO and Tesla and Apple. So for instance, Jamie Carlson, he was working on Apple's car project Titan. He resigned, went to work for NIO, became VP for autonomous in the USA, but then also resigned again, maybe during the times when NIO was in financial struggles and he couldn't succeed with his work as he wished to. NIO is now having their new team with Ren Zhaojing from Momenta AI and also lots of new interesting technical stuff, both in the hardware and software world. So having a new approach to autonomous, but Jamie Carlson, he went back to work on this special projects group with Apple. And then for Tesla, they, for instance, lost their VP of engineering, Michael Shevakuch, who went and works for Apple now and has also those kind of salty comments on Tesla. So those two people went and worked for Apple and possibly supporting their developments in the EV space. I personally have my question marks. Both hit some internal restrictions, for instance, with Tesla and NIO. Why would they be successful with Apple? So as you can see, I have my doubts on the actual prospects of this Apple car. It's rumored to be quite late. I'm having my question marks whether or not it will be able to compete with what Tesla is putting out there and even what NIO is putting out there already. And interesting, also Elon Musk tweeted how during the darkest days of the Model 3 program, he reached out to Tim Cook, but he even declined to talk to him. So that is also a little bit showing really the corporate thinking and the culture at Apple. Apple is recently lacking in their innovation sphere. So yes, I do think we need more competition. And if we are scaling to 20-30% of EV adoption in the markets, then obviously there need to be more companies than NIO and Tesla building EVs. So it's good if Apple is joining that. I'm looking forward to what they can actually come up. I'm sure it will be looking nice and have some good functionalities, but I don't really see it as a threat to both what NIO and Tesla are doing. Now let's talk about Baidu. And you guys know, if you're watching this channel, that I am invested in Baidu and that I think it's an interesting investment. And after a very, very long time where Baidu shares basically went nowhere, we finally are back into almost the 200s here. So having a large increase, and most of it actually fueled by the news that Baidu could actually build their own electric vehicle. So a 46% increase in the share price, and I'm obviously happy about that. But Am I betting here that Baidu is becoming a player in the EV world? Well, I was certainly not surprised to see those rumors around Baidu and electric cars, because if you're one of my patrons, you know that in October I already made a post about Baidu acquiring 99.9% stake in Fuyang Hui Investment Management Company, which is one of the largest shareholders in a company called Weltmeister Motors, and I tested those WM Motors or Weimar cars in Shanghai during my last trip, and I must say that I'm quite impressed by it's a good mix between a low price and the quality of the car, and a very digital car, so has also a digital assistant, over-the-air software updates and stuff like that. So I think this company, which is still pre-IPO, has a good potential in the future of the Chinese EV market in general. And so obviously it's interesting if Baidu acquires a bigger stake here. Now, in the Baidu news related to EVs, they were mainly talking about a possible cooperation with, for instance, Geely Group or China FAW and so on. But in my personal view, I think that the bet on Weltmeister car here is the most likely one for Baidu to actually succeed or becoming material in a way that Baidu is actually doing something in the market here. And that would not be a threat so much on NIO in my point of view, but rather on XPeng due to the low and competitive pricing of Weltmeister cars. So I'm obviously happy that the Baidu shares are jumping on this news. However, I think it's also kind of a wrong signal here, because I don't think that Baidu is actually going to be a massive player in the EV field here, and it's showing more once again here that investors are really opportunistic right now about wherever there are some news about EVs, that they're jumping on this opportunity there. Instead, if you've seen my investment hypothesis on Baidu, I am investing because it's becoming an AI-backed company in many different industries, not only in automotive, but I am looking that they are hopefully entering the healthcare sectors. So this is my biggest bet, where I'm hoping that Baidu can use their technical know-how, leveraging their algorithms and so on in the space, for instance, of drug discovery, in the space of online consultation of doctors and so on. But this is far away. This was not one of the news related to the recent share price jump. So what I think this means is that investors are now seeing this opportunity in Baidu here, and this is just one of those many different opportunities that I'm actually seeing lined up in Baidu, and why I'm investing in this company, because when I invested it was just valued at around 50 billion US dollars in market capitalization. Now it's obviously a little bit higher, but still this is a very low market cap for all of the different fields where Baidu is working at. So it's a really exciting company, although management has been a bit lacking about communicating that. So in my point of view, Baidu will be transitioning from a search engine advertisement platform to a service company. And as you can see here in my napkin business case for Baidu, I'm hoping that the other revenues that are related to those other services are actually outgrowing the current online marketing services in terms of growth over the next years, and thereby I see the potential till 2040 that Baidu could trade at more than 500 US dollars a share, so becoming a 200 billion valued company there. And the automotive related projects, in my views, are just a tiny piece of what Baidu is actually working on. I'm most keen on the Apollo part, where it can be kind of a hedge to the Tesla strategy of autonomous driving. I think Baidu has a good positioning there in the Chinese market, because there are government supported, they're running some of those government supported projects, for instance in Guangzhou, regarding the scaling of V2X technology. And I think many OEMs, for instance like the German OEMs, they need to adopt this kind of technology, and Baidu will be the back end of those level 4 to level 5 autonomy technology. And as mentioned before in my videos, I think that NIO also plays an important part of this Baidu Apollo ecosystem, in which NIO is providing some of the cars, working together with, for instance, Horizon Robotics on the chipset, Momenta AI, of which Ren is coming from, is part of the Baidu ecosystem, and then also some of the tier 1 suppliers, the German automotive suppliers Bosch, Continental and Infineon, which are also NIO suppliers, are actually connected to this Apollo system. So lots of connections here between Baidu and NIO in a positive way here, and Baidu will be profiting from mainly providing the algorithms, the data, and connecting those different players in an ecosystem that is possibly very unique to China and can be a hedge from an investment point of view in the space of autonomous driving. So this is why I'm not worried about what Baidu is doing in the EV space regarding my NIO investment. I think they can go hand in hand, and in each segment that Baidu is becoming active there, that is actually just good for the share price. Now the question is it still a good entry point for Baidu? Well, you've seen this run up, and it basically didn't trade above the $200, which has become a new resistance. And I think we now are kind of at a top level here, so we could as well go down back to $155 a share. So now it would be actually a bad timing to get in if you're not invested in Baidu yet, or if you want to get in now and not missing out on the future opportunities here. It would actually be better to split your investments in different tranches and, you know, invest one now, and later on, if we possibly test back those lower levels, you can add to your investment and cost average down. Because what you need to understand about Baidu, that it's kind of more of a long-term investment in my views. There's many of those services that I'm talking about will not show up in the financial metrics in years to come. But in the end, I think there is this potential that Baidu will become more than a $200 billion company. So if you can invest for a very long time, it really doesn't matter now if you get in at $200 a share or $150. But as I mentioned, I expect it to trade a little bit in this range here until we have some more positive news confirmed on Baidu that it can break out above the $200 level. So I will just stick with this investment and sit it out. I have invested mostly down here when Baidu stock was beaten up. I've also picked up some calls on Baidu which have been incredibly cheap and are now almost up 500%. So I will just sit out and see where Baidu's management is going into the future, and really keep you guys also up to date on what Baidu is doing, not only in the EV space, but also in the healthcare environment. Now, if you want to stay updated also on a daily basis, please consider to become a patron. This helps to support the channel and also keeps us doing the work we're doing. And I'm now launching also a kind of a prototype of a new Patreon only community. So I'm currently inviting all of the Patreon tiers above $10 a month. So that's, for instance, the NIO gang and the Tesla newly rich and so on, to become part of this community where I can have more daily posts and more like of a discussion between also the supporters of this channel. Whereas on Patreon, I will make continuous posts from time to time that are longer in a way that people can just get the information first before I make a video about it. So this is it for now. I hope everyone enjoys the more quiet days, and I hope you guys also getting some rest and nice days with your families despite all of the Roni situation that is going on. I'm still hoping to putting out some content during these days, so stay tuned for that. And anyways, it's been a brilliant year. Thank you guys for the support so far, and thanks for watching. So hope to see you in the next one.